Welcome to this beautiful game between Bobby Fischer and Samuel Reshevsky. This is a very fighting game between Fischer and Reshevsky. And Fischer is playing with the white pieces here, and Reshevsky is playing with the black pieces here. So it's a Sicilian on the board. So and d4 is played. So after the pawn is captured, knight captures back, and g6 is played, making this the Sicilian defense, the accelerated Darkin variation of the Sicilian defense, where this bishop is being shattered and the king will castle on the king side. So knight to c3 is played by Fischer, and bishop comes to g7, and bishop to e3 by Fischer, and knight to f6 by Reshevsky, getting ready to castle on the king side. Bishop to e2 now, and the castles on the king side black, and f4 is played by Fischer, launching a pawn storm on a pawn attack on the king side of the castle king with your f pawn. And after that, once you castle, your rooks are also free to move. So d6 is played, and you could actually activate your light square bishop, and you can also push the pawns later on and attack the center. And the knight is retrieved to b3 now. So bishop comes to e6 now, and g4 is now pushed by Fischer, making it clear that he could be castling on the queen side, and the pawn storm will happen on the king side of the board. So pawn is pushed to d5 here, and trying to open up the game on the center and the queen side, and Fischer just ignores that and pushes f5 here, attacking this bishop here. So bishop retrieves to c8, and the e pawn now captures the d5 pawn, and with the knight under attack, the knight jumps to b4 over here, attacking this pawn again thrice, and it's only defended twice as well. So bishop now goes to f3, trying to protect that pawn over there, and the g pawn is now captured by the f5 pawn, opening up this particular g file. So the pawn is now pushed to a3, attacking the knight, and instead of retrieving the knight, this pawn is captured back with an attack on the bishop here. So the bishop, this is an in-between move, very good move, and the bishop retrieves to g2, and now the knight goes back to a6. This cannot go back here because of the pawn here, so the knight goes into the reign. So the knights and the reign are dim, so it's not a good idea to keep them there for a long time. So queen to d3 now, attacking this h7 square over here, because with the g pawn on the down the board here basically. So pawn is now pushed to e6 here, but the best move would be to bring your queen over here to d6, but he went for the e6 push, and now Fischer castles on the queen side. Very late castling as of the 17th move, and knight now captures this d5 pawn, getting this pawn back. So pawn is now pushed to g3, trying to open up these squares here for the rook and the queen and the bishops to be active. So instead of going for the capture, g3 is pushed here, trying to keep up the defensive wall and also creating this pass pawn. But Fischer could easily gobble up this pawn later on in the game. So queen comes to d6 now, with the rook coming over here trying to attack here. This d6 queen protect this pawn as well. So bishop captures the d5 knight, and the pawn captures back, and after which the knight captures the pawn back, and now the king now gets away from this open semi-open g file, which will be open once this pawn is gone. So bishop now goes to f4 over here. So the best move would have been to bring your bishop over here to d4. So if the queen captures the knight is defenseless. If the queen captures, basically you can just create a discovered attack with a check, and the queen will be gone. So queen cannot take this knight. So Fischer didn't go for that line, and he instead Reshevsky brought his queen to g6, and the queen Fischer dropped his queen to d2, but queen to e2 was best over here. So bishop now captures the h3 pawn, and rook captures the pawn back, and bishop drop backs to g4, and the rook goes to h1 over here, creating an attack on the h7 square over here, which is only defended by the queen over here. You cannot move this bishop here because of the queen will be basically gone as well. So the rook comes to e8, and knight now jumps to e3, attacking this particular bishop, and it also prevents the rook from coming over here to e2 or e2, creating an attack on the queen. So queen to e4, which is a mistake, was played by Reshevsky. The best move would be to push this pawn over here to f5 and create this support for the bishop, but he didn't go for that. And now the queen goes to h2 over here, creating an attack on the on h7 square. Only this queen's presence on this light square diagonal is preventing the checkmate over here. Here bishop goes to e6, which is a mistake was played, and Fischer plays rook captures this g7 bishop. Actually, the best move was to bring your knight over here because this queen do not have anywhere else to go. The knight is covering the square, the rook is covering the square, and this square you cannot go here because, and also because of the battery, and it's occupied by the black pawn, and this square is taken by the pawn as well. So the queen will be gone, and which basically means the game will be lost as well. But Fischer didn't see that. He went for the capture exchange of the rook for the bishop, and king captures, and after that queen goes to h6 with a check. The rook to g1 plus was best in this scenario, and the following lines could have happened. You could have just got the queen over here, because with the queen over here, the king cannot escape like this. So because let's say the queen is here, there's no escape square. The square is covered by the queen, and in the next move, this bishop will create a checkmate, just like this. So that would have happened, but didn't happen in the game. Instead, the queen went to h6 with a check, and after that, king goes to g8, and the game will continue like this with a g1 check, and the queen will be gone anyways. And after that, knight to d4, and rook comes to d8, and bishop goes to e5, creating this checkmate right over here. So the rook will have to come into the 7th rank, preventing the checkmate, and the knight comes to e7 and capturing the bishop, and the rook captures back, and the knight to g4 is played, and the rook f2 f7 is a mistake. After that, the queen goes to g5 over here. So the rook now goes to f1 with a check, and once the king escapes, h5 is played. The best move would have been to capture this bishop. So once the queen goes to d8 with a check, basically Samuel Reshevsky signs the game, because the following combination would happen. Apart from this rook covering this check, all other moves will result in an immediate checkmate. So even in this scenario, the rook will be gone, and basically the following moves will happen. And basically Fischer is way ahead in this game right now, and he is winning the match. Because of that, Samuel Reshevsky resigned the game, and Fischer won the match. So thanks for watching. We'll be back with more such videos.